only one earned run allowed in 2 quality starts, and that's what they need here this afternoon from Glenn Perkins.
Figgins getting in the box, and we're about ready to get going here. Figgins has had his usual impactful series against the Twins.
He's been a pest. He's a guy you want to try to keep off the bases, but the Twins have not been able to do that over his career. He's a career .340 hitter against the Twins, 80 hits and 235 at-bats.
342 against the Twins this year. A big home run last week ago yesterday against Nick Blackburn, and started that big 9-run inning.
With Perkins on the mound being a left-hander, it does move a lot of these switch hitters that do not have the same high average from the left side of the plate to the right side of the plate. Figgins hitting only .233 as a right-handed hitter compared to .346 as a left-handed hitter.
And the Angels as a team hitting .278 against lefties, .293 against righties. 1-2. And a good start to the ball game. Figgins on a check swing is out on strikes. Dairy Queen defense for the Twins, and a bit of a different look. Young, Gomez, and Span in the outfield. Kadire will sit out again today. Brendan Harris in for third. Joe Creedy's shoulder a little dinged up. Cabrera, Casilla up the middle. Morneau at first. Bauer behind the plate. Brendan Harris will be used as a utility player in the infield now, and he gets to start at third base.
Yeah, Joe Creedy, who played in last night's ball game, getting the afternoon off. And a good start for Perkins. Perkins likes to pitch a lot of right-handers inside, but the key to any pitcher is work both sides of the plate. Perfect pitch right there, outer half of the plate for his first out, that being a strikeout of Figgins.
It's ahead of Ibar, 0-1. And a hot ground ball up the middle into center field for a base hit. You know, when you face a team that's on a roll like the Angels have been on now for a long period of time, you generally say, wow, they've been getting great pitching. The Angels have been on this great roll really despite their pitching. That's how good their offense has been.
Yeah, hitting .289 as a ball club. That's first in the majors, first in runs scored in the American League, first in most hits, 106 infield hits. So they can beat you in a lot of different ways.
Here's Abreu, the designated hitter, and he takes up high. I mean, the Angels have the best record in the American League, nearly the best record in all of baseball. And their pitching staff is 12th in the American League in earned run average. It's been a very dramatic turnaround and an uncharacteristic one for Mike Scioscia and the Angels this year. And that's ball 2, 2-0.
Well, they do it as a team. It's not 2 or 3 guys. I mean, even with Vladimir Guerrero and Torrey Hunter out, the Angels are 16-3 with those guys out of the lineup. And the contributions of a guy like this, Abreu has always had a great career against the Twins, a career .391 hitter against the Twins, and this year hitting only .452.
Over for a strike. It's 2-1. Well, Perkins, as you look back at his 2009 season so far, his best game this year probably came against the Angels here back in April. 8 innings, just 4 hits, and 84 pitches, something like that. He was in control from the very beginning.
Angels like to run. 107 stolen bases on the year. Eric Ibar at first base, 8 stolen bases in 11 attempts.
Two and one. Runner stays put, and the pitch grounded through the hole to left. Rounding second on his way to third, and Young will throw to second base. Again, the aggressive base running of the Angels. Not many times on a single to left field will the runner be able to go from first to third, but Ibar does just that.
An example, exactly what the Angels do. They run the bases with a lot of aggressiveness, and they can do that because they have a lot of speed in their lineup. Ibar does not stop, as Young kind of hesitated right there and deciding to get the ball into second base. Not a bad play right there by Young because it keeps the double play in order.
And Perkins has gotten 10 ground ball double plays, and Rivera at the plate. Not their fastest runner. We'll see if Perkins can get a ground ball hit at somebody. There's a first pitch strike. You talked about Perkins, and when he's on, he's able to do that and really keep the right-handed hitters honest and get called strikes on that inside corner.
Yeah, he likes to work both sides. He has that little bit of a two-seamer down and away to right-handers. That'll create more ground balls. Where that fastball inside, more of the four-seam fastball. And if you get in, that'll create more pop-ups.
To left center field. Gomez with the catch. That ball looked like it almost came out of the tip of his glove. He made the catch. It's a sacrifice fly. And a 1-0 Angel lead.
And a hustle by Ibar right there, going from first to third, creates an RBI situation for Rivera that all he has to do is hit it deep enough, and that ball deep enough with Ibar at third. Gomez says, you know what, I have a great arm, but you're not going to get Ibar at home, so get the ball back in. Keep Abreu at first base.
A lesson learned there perhaps after what happened here on Friday night. A big fourth inning for the Indians. They've jumped on the Tigers 6-0. Here's Kendry Morales. Strike on the outside corner. Tigers start the day 3 games ahead of the Twins. A game and a half ahead of the surging White Sox, who will play the Yankees this afternoon on the south side of Chicago. A good pitching matchup there. Sabathia against Burley. Just off the inside corner, 1-1. So what have the Angels done here to get this first run? A couple of ground ball singles, aggressive base running, a lazy fly ball to center. And as has been the case for most of the last 2 weekends, they've got a lead on the Twins. Fouled away, 1-2.
Morales, a switch hitter, hitting .253 as a right-handed hitter. One of his 21 home runs coming from the right side of the plate. Right-handers hitting .281 off of Perkins, where left-handers are hitting .321, .290 overall.
1-2. The Angel first baseman. That's past Cabrera. Another ground ball base hit. Abreu will hold up at second base. So the inning continues. 3 singles on the pitch. Might have been outside. Just poked up the middle.
And 19 hits here on Friday night. 18 hits in last night's ball game for the Angels. And they've already picked up 3 here in the first inning.
Howie Kendrick getting a chance to play at second base for Maicer Asteris.
Kendrick, a guy that's built a lot like Torrey Hunter. He's had a good career against Twins pitching, hitting .364. There's Torrey Hunter. A pinch hit base hit in last night's win.
Well, the Angels have been waiting for Kendrick to take his game to the next level, and if anything this year he may have taken a step back. In fact, was demoted to the minor leagues. Keep hearing about Kendrick. Someday he's going to contend for a batting title and all that, and right now the way the Angels are rolling, he's fighting for playing time.
Maicer Asteris, who played the first 2 ball games. Good looking player.
1 strike to Kendrick. Fly ball left field. And Gelman Young comes in to end the inning. 3 singles in the first run of the game going to the Angels against Glenn Perkins. 10-game hitting streak and kicked the average pretty close to 300 at 291. Then Cabrera, Mauer, Morneau, Kubel, Young, Harris, and Gomez and Casilla hitting 8th and 9th.
And the Schmelz Countryside Saab scouting report on Jarrett Weaver making his 22nd start, looking for his 11th win. He's been a steady force in the rotation. He's had a lot of run support over his innings pitched.
Faced the Twins in Anaheim 2 starts ago. 7 innings, gave up 4 earned runs. It'll be Denard Span leading things off. And Span takes ball 1.
Yeah, Weaver, a tall right-hander at 6'7". Denard Span currently on a career-high 10-game hitting streak. Weaver, when he's been on that mound, he's averaged 6.49 runs per start.
Down low, and when he faced the Twins 2 starts ago, Span started the game with a single. Kubel hit a home run. The Twins put 3 up in the first inning, and then he settled down after that.
Well, the Twins are 15-6 when he starts a ball game. Excuse me, the Angels are.
And 3-0 now to the leadoff man. That clips the corner, 3-1. Span with a hit or 2 in just about every game for the last week and a half. As he averaged up to 291. And again, the outside corner fills the count.
Yeah, Weaver has a fastball in the mid-90s, hard slider, curveball, and a changeup. 25 years old, in his 4th season with the Angels. Young man that grew up in Southern California, gets to pitch for his home team. Pretty much went to Long Beach State University. Angels #1 pick, 12th overall back in 2004. And he got a haircut.
Yes, he did. Even trimmed the goatee a little bit since the last time we saw him. Foul back, still 3-2.
Weaver making his 6th career start against the Twins. He's 2-1 with a 3.11 ERA over his first 5 starts against the Twins. 3rd career start here at the Metrodome. He's 0-1 with a 3.38 ERA here at the Dome in 2 previous starts.
Ball 4, and Span will go to first with a leadoff walk. Generally doesn't work too well when you've been given a lead and you walk the leadoff hitter. We'll see if the Twins can do with the leadoff walk. The DQ defense has Rodriguez, Matthews, and Rivera in the outfield. Figgins and Ibar on the left side of the infield. Kendrick and Morales on the right side, and Jeff Mathis getting the start behind the plate. Well, here's Cabrera. Got a couple of hits down the right field line in last night's game. Span goes on the first pitch, and he steals second easily. On the first pitch, the Twins try to give the Angels a little bit of their own medicine.
Well, for Denard Span, his 17th stolen base of the year. That leads the Twins. Got a very good jump off of Weaver. Weaver with that long arm. It takes him a little bit longer to get that ball home. Span got a very good jump. Gets in the scoring position. Cabrera's goal here is to hit the ball the other way. Get Span over to 3rd.
And a breaking ball gets a wave and strike 2.
Orlando Cabrera, 34 years old. He's currently on a 12-game hitting streak.
Coming off a great month of July, and August got started on the right foot last night. Trying to flip it to the right side and lifted it foul instead. meeting yesterday when he got to Minnesota with Ron Gardenhire, and already asked him what his expectations were, and Cabrera simply said to get to the team to the playoffs and to play every day. It's down the right field line. It'll be chased by Rivera and Morales. And just over the short wall down by the bullpen.
And everybody down in that bullpen scattering.
So, music to the manager's ears. Cabrera wanting to help the Twins get to the playoffs, but also saying, look, just put me in the lineup. I want to play every day. Day games, night games, whatever, I want to be in there. And that said, of course, that causes a little bit of an infield shuffle for the likes of Punto and Harris, who had been playing at shortstop.
Well, Cabrera, a guy that wants to play every day. He's usually out there every day.
2 strikes. And breaking ball just wide, 1-2. Take advantage of the leadoff walk. The Twins have advanced Span to second base. Fastball just outside 2-2. Weaver, who had a full count with Span, and Span fouled off a couple of pitches before drawing the walk. Now has stretched the count to 2-2 to Cabrera. Another one hit down by the Angel bullpen. Well, 15 pitches for Weaver, and no one's put a ball in play yet.
Yeah, Weaver, 115 strikeouts coming into this ballgame, 136 innings pitched. That's 10th most strikeouts in the American League. 45 walks.
And in Cabrera, the Twins have a new player who doesn't walk that much and doesn't strike out that much. But Weaver gets him here. There needs to be a throw to first, and on a breaking pitch, Cabrera strikes out for the first out of the inning. And that'll bring up Mauer.
Hey, goes to the breaking ball. Good location right there, that breaking ball just on the other side of home plate. And you see Mathis right there, knock that ball down, go to first for the first out. That's the breaking ball I was talking about that Anthony Swarzak could not do last night. Every breaking ball was up in the zone, and that's what you want to do. Exactly what Weaver did right there. Ahead in the count, pop that ball just on the other side of the plate. A lot of hitters will swing and miss.
Here's Mauer. In last night's game, the Twins scored 6 runs. They got an abundance of hits, as did the Angels. Did Mauer, the only starter in the ballgame last night who did not get a hit. A rare 0 for 5 night, dropping him again 10 points behind Ichiro in the batting race.
And Mauer 5 for 12 lifetime against Jarrett Weaver.
And he serves it to left field, a base hit. Span flies around third. He's coming home. And a base hit. And a run scored. We've got a tie game.
He waits back so nicely. Looked like a changeup right there. And Mauer just kind of 15 loved it into left field. Take a look at the pitch right here. Not a bad pitch. A little breaking ball. And Joe just dropped the barrel of the bat and lined it into left field. He picks up an RBI. His 59th of the year. The Twins come right back and tie it.
So a walk, a stolen base, a little chip shot to left, and it's 1 apiece. Here's Morneau. Up and away, ball 1. Mark Burley's perfect game broken up early by the Yankees. They lead Chicago 3-0. Top of the second inning. Morneau hit his 27th last night, a solo home run.
One ahead of Mark Teixeira and Carlos Pena in that department, and leading the American League in RBI.
Home plate umpire.
85.
Excuse me. Home plate umpire Jerry Davis called the strike. Didn't ask for help at all. I'm not sure that Morneau went on that pitch.
Let's take a look right here. Very close.
1-1.
The intent to swing.
2-1. Mauer at first with one away. Left an off-speed pitch up, and Morneau fouled it back. A rocket into the seats in right last night.
Now, this did not take long to get out of the ballpark off of reliever Matt Palmer. Home run number 27 for Justin.
Up to short right, a long run for Rivera, and it's the second baseman Kendrick who gets under it for out number 2. And that'll bring up Kubel. And it was Kubel who hit the 2-run home run in the first inning against Weaver in Anaheim. And Kubel with 18 home runs seems targeted for a season where he's going to hit 20 to 25 home runs. Trying to keep the batting average above 300, where it's been most of this year. Mathis, a nice catch, ball 1.
Yeah, Kubel last year, his first year hitting 20 home runs. Hit 20 exactly, 78 RBI. He hit 272 last year.
The Twins' middle of the lineup, the 3 lefties, Mauer, Morneau, and Kubel, all appear to be headed for career years in the power department. Certainly Mauer has already hit a career high in home runs. Morneau's career high 34, hit 3 years ago when he was the league MVP. And Kubel. Swing and a miss, 2-1.
They pulled a string right there, Weaver did.
Pitcher shouldn't do that. You know, when it's 2-0, just go ahead and challenge him. Throw a fastball.
Change up, and Kubel way out front. I think that's why the Angels have scored 11 runs the last couple ball games.
Twins have been challenging him?
Yeah.
Snap throw, and they got him. Mathis throwing behind the hitter and getting Mauer at first to end the inning. Mauer's base hit ties it at 1 apiece.
Flowers out. Looked like Joe was able to get that right hand back on the bag. Morales right there hitting his forearm. Very close call, but Buckner saying that Joe did not get back in time.
Tied at 1. Now the second inning. Matthews, Mathis, and Rodriguez facing Glenn Perkins. And a strike. Angels emerging, of course, as the class of the American League West. They've won the division 4 times in the last 5 years. Two strikes. What makes their offensive surge in the middle months of this season so remarkable? Last year they were 10th in the league in runs scored. And now they're number 1. And they've dealt with the absences of Hunter and Guerrero. Up high, 1-2.
Well, what that does mean is more playing time for Gary Matthews Jr. That average coming up a little bit, but from the right side of the plate, he's hitting just 167. 265 as a left-handed hitter.
And what this offensive surge has done for the Angels, they can play Matthews, who hasn't done much offensively this year, and they don't really need him to swing a productive bat as long as he gives them Gold Glove defense, which he has done on a regular basis. A little pop up to center, 1 away. Let's go to Jim Rich.
Well, Dick, good news for the Twins rotation, as Francisco Liriano today threw a bullpen, and it looks like he will be able to make his next scheduled start on Wednesday in Cleveland. This morning he threw that pen, and pitching coach Rick Anderson told me afterwards it was perhaps Liriano's best pen in the last month. He was crisp and experienced no pain in the forearm. Obviously that was the most critical part of that. And so at this point, Anderson says he's 99.9% sure Liriano will go on Wednesday, which gives Gardy and him some options for today's game.
And that impacts today's bullpen. There's Brian Dunsing, who now is free to pitch today if necessary. Morneau going to his right, knocks it down, but can't make the play.
Yeah, Mathis just going the other way. Justin, you don't see him too many times get that ball in his glove and then deflect away. So the 4th hit for the Angels.
They've all been hit on the ground. Here's Sean Rodriguez. Rodriguez getting a chance to play some in left field. Reggie Willits has been struggling offensively. 1-0.
Rodriguez a couple hits in last night's ball game. In his second stint with the Angels this year. Started the season in AAA Salt Lake City.
And a throw to first. Perkins knows his job, Dunsing's availability or not, is to give the Twins a good start here today. Very high, 2-0. This has been, even since the All-Star break, a season where the Twins have gotten very good starting pitching, followed immediately by very poor starting pitching. I mean, coming out of the break, the Twins went down to Texas and they pitched really well. And then things immediately kind of went south as soon as they went to Oakland. Fouled into the seats. Then they come home. And one of the reasons they did well against the White Sox and swept them, they got pretty good starting pitching. And then you face the Angels and you give up back-to-back games of 11 runs allowed. So consistency, something the Twins are going to look for from Swarzak and Blackburn in the final 2 months of the season. 2-1 to Rodriguez. That's hit well to center field. Gomez turning around back to the wall. It's gone. A home run. So Rodriguez to straightaway center field. A 2-run home run, putting the Angels back in front.
Well, Rodriguez hitting his second home run of the year. Got a fastball to his liking. And just dropped the barrel of the bat, hitting it straight away center here at the Metrodome. 408. Gomez going back and running out of room.
Didn't look like that pitch was left up around the belt, down around the knees, and Rodriguez blasted it to straightaway center. Here's Figgins taking strike one. And strike two. Perkins in his last start gave up a couple of home runs to the White Sox, and after the second home run he said he was as mad as he's ever been as a major league pitcher. And he decided from that point forward for the balance of that game, if he was going to get beaten by the White Sox, he was going to get beaten pitching his game and no one else's. And now he comes back after the home run to strike out Figgins for the second time. Here's Michael. Tradition wall being erected at Target Field, and your name or your family's name can be etched in glass at Target Field. There's a bunt. Perkins is able to field and flip in time to get Ibar to end the inning. So 2 runs for the Angels, and they're back in front 3-1. Maurer was picked off first. It'll be Kubel, Young, and Harris facing Weaver here in the second inning. One strike to Kubel. And now missing the inside corner, 1-1. Weaver staked to his second lead. Strike 2 on the inside corner.
That's what they talk about in Anaheim, that the starting staff has for the Angels been given a lot of early run support, but that staff has not been able to hold a lot of leads.
Check swing, think 2-2. And yet The Angels quiet prior to the trade deadline. Two and two. Breaking ball down and in. Kubel swings and misses, one away.
And Weaver picks up strikeout number 2.
Ring up Delmon Young.
A good hard breaking ball right there underneath the swing of a lot of left-handers.
A little bit low, ball 1. And it's fouled over the Angel dugout. Has Delmon Young always moved his bat up and down like that, or is he trying to have some sort of a timing mechanism? We've seen him rotate the bat in his hands, and now it seems like he's pumping his arms up and down in anticipation of the pitch. It's behind first, chased by Morales. Foul ball catch, out number 2.
Well, a lot of hitters. You remember Gary Sheffield, he'd use that bat and swing that bat around. All hitters do certain things, but it's when that pitch is ready to come toward home plate is when they have their hands set.
Harris to the plate, getting a chance to play at third base for the Twins today. Joe Crede in diving for a ground ball to his left yesterday, kind of tweaked his shoulder a little bit. And generally, Crede sits out a day game after a night game to allow his back to recover from playing on the artificial turf the night before. A little bit low, ball 1. Harris finished the month of July slumping, and the average down to .263. Two 2-0.
Weaver over his last 8 starts, 3 wins, 1 loss, but an ERA of 6.95. 35 earned runs allowed over his last 45 and a third innings pitched.
Popped up short center. Ibar out. Matthews in. And Weaver comes back with a 1-2-3 second inning. It's 3-1 Angels.
The circle, and Twin fans, don't forget at Twin home games, bring your Circle Me signs, and if you get circled like they did right there, you might find yourself in a Minnesota Lottery's winner circle where you could win, like they did, $100 worth of lottery scratch-off tickets, courtesy of the Minnesota Lottery.
Palisade, Minnesota, just 10 miles maybe east of Wakanabo. Up there by McGregor, Waldeck, and Hassman. Not too far from Rat Lake, which I'm sure was named after Gary Gaetti. 2 strikes to Bobby Abreu.
Well, Abreu in the first inning just slapped the ball away between Harris and Cabrera in the left field.
1-2. Angels with 5 hits in their first 9 at bats, including the go-ahead home run by Rodriguez. Now, second time through the order, Perkins has gotten the first 2 batters, and Abreu taps a foul. Cleveland's added on. It's 8-0 over the Tigers now, bottom of the 6th. And Melky Cabrera's 3-run home run holding up on the south side of Chicago. It's still 3-0 New York. 1-2. Just off the plate. Perkins thought he had strike 3.
Cabrera, very good eye at the plate, and that pitch right there crossed the plate as a strike.
Bouncer to short. Easy play for Cabrera. 1 down. And it'll bring up Rivera. Perkins has pitched well against the Angels in the past. We mentioned his season highlight might have been his 8 innings with 4 hits and just 1 run allowed back on April 19th. But this is a different Angel team than it was back then. Missing down and in.
Well, it's a different Perkins, too. Remember, that was a 3rd start that he went at least 8 innings.
Yeah.
He started off the season very, very good. Then he kind of ran into some elbow problems. 2 starts ago, complained of some soreness in that left shoulder. And had Dr. Yoakum down when the Twins were in Anaheim. Look at his shoulder. Everything was fine.
2-1. Last year, between Rochester and Minnesota, Perkins threw 184 in the 3rd innings. And for Perkins, Blackburn, Baker, and the rest of the Twins, it's a high pop-up behind second base. And Casilla calls Cabrera off, out number 2. For all the starters who pitched primarily in the rotation last year, a little bit more was expected of them this year, and what the Twins hadn't counted on was that Perkins was going to be hurt a little bit. Slowly was going to break down because of the line drive. You can't do anything about a line drive hitting you in the wrist and creating a bone chip. So Slowey's out. Liriano has had some health issues, but largely hasn't pitched as the Twins had hoped he would.
No, it's been a very inconsistent starting staff. No one has really stepped forward. I mean, it was Nick Blackburn up until the All-Star break, and his last 3 starts have not been consistent.
Ground ball hit to Morneau, and Perkins comes back with a 1-2-3 He's retired 5 in a row since the go-ahead home run. and by Comcast. Call 1-800-COMCAST to find out how to save big with the Comcast Triple Play. Twins trying to come back from a 3-1 deficit. Carlos Gomez takes ball one. And Jared Weaver, pitching with the lead all game long so far, has not done a very good job delivering strike one to these Twins batters. And an off-speed pitch hits the corner. Foul back. Gomez, Casilla, Span. Going to generate something against Weaver, maybe with some base stealing or base running. Twins got a run in the first inning because of Span's leadoff walk, a stolen base. Coming in on Mauer's single, the only hit so far for the Twins against Weaver. And strike three, one away.
And Weaver gets his third strikeout. Another breaking ball. Got Cabrera to swing through a breaking ball in the first inning. Kubel on a breaking ball in the second. And right here, this looked like a crossed up Mathis right there. Able to catch it for the first out.
Here's Casilla. Foul back. The season started and the Twins figured second base was taken care of, and there were hopes that Casilla might hit 300. He hit 281 last year in roughly 2/3 of the season. Give you an idea how your perspective changes. Now the Twins are hoping Casilla can hit 200 this year. If he hits 200 this year, it means he'll have a very good final 2 months. 2 strikes. 1-2.
I think the difference between Casilla this year and last year, it seemed like he chopped the ball down a lot. He utilized his speed, a lot of infield hits. But now just hitting a lot of fly balls. See the defense, the outfield not playing very deep for Casilla.
1-2. And a strikeout. For the first time through the order, Weaver's given up 1 run, 1 hit, and he struck out 4. Here's Michael Kanier with some Twins group ticket information.
One of the best things about Twins baseball is sharing it with others, like with your customers, employees, or colleagues at work. Call us today to book your group at the Dome. Thanks for your support.
Here's Denard Span. Drew a walk on a 3-2 pitch. Was the 8th pitch of the at-bat. Stole second, scored on Mauer's single, and he takes ball 1.
Showed you that scene of another great crowd here. Sunday afternoon crowd here at the Dome. Over 40,000 last night.
Strike in the outside corner. White Sox have taken the lead on the Yankees 4-3. Teeing off on CC Sabathia. Around the hands, 2-1. And now 2-2.
Weaver does a good job at keeping that 6'7" frame back over that pitching rubber.
Counts full to Span again. With Cabrera on deck. got him looking, came back and got the inside corner of the fastball. So Weaver strikes out the side in the third. Home team.
It's definitely an honor, to be a part of the All Metrodome team. And you're talking about Kirby Puckett, the Ken Herbecks, and Bert Blyleven, and all these guys that really did some damage and got a World Series in the Metrodome and did some great things. And for me to be a part of it and a part of those guys, the elite group of the Metrodome team, and I'm just happy. I'm happy to be a part of it. And I would just want to say thank you, fans.
I think we want to thank Torii Hunter for all his exciting play here for 11 seasons wearing a Minnesota Twins uniform.
This franchise owes a lot to Torii Hunter. When you think that, of course, you mentioned Kirby and Kent and you and the World Championship seasons aside, there's a fly down the right field line, and Denard Span makes a leaping catch! An unbelievable catch by Denard Span! That's one of the greatest catches in foul territory you will ever see.
I think the guys in the bullpen down by the Angels are still stunned. Span went a long way for this ball and leaped as he made contact with that short fence right there. Watch Span jump up and timed it perfect. What a great catch right there by Denard Span.
One down in the fourth. And Matthews with a rocket right in front of the nose of Glenn Perkins. So 6 straight batters retired. The last acrobatically. My goodness, a dead-on sprint to the wall. And a great catch at the end.
Well, it's like he knew exactly where he was, how he'd leap up. You see the right foot kind of supporting himself, and he comes back into the playing field. Unbelievable catch.
Wow.
And Torii saying, wow.
At one point, Denard Span was supposed to be the heir to Torii Hunter in center, and he's become kind of a utility outfielder this year, but runner at first, one out, and Mathis at the plate. He's going back to Hunter, and that group of guys starting in 2001, for a lot of years, attendance figures would tell you there wasn't a whole lot of interest in what was going on inside the Metrodome here, but that all started to turn in 2001. Hunter won his first Gold Glove. Minkiewicz won a Gold Glove. And that core group, largely, I think, responsible for the rebirth of baseball here in the upper Midwest and the construction of Target Field.
Yeah, 4-time Central Division champs starting in 2002, 3, 4, and 6. Thanks to a guy like Torii Hunter. two-time All-Star as a Minnesota Twin, 7th-time Rawling Gold Glove winner, and a class man.
Yeah.
Guy that comes to the ballpark, wants to play. Believe me, he wants to get back out there and play, but he's got that Kirby Puckett type of smile all the time.
Said he really wanted to play here today, but the Angels, of course, playing it cautiously. Bouncer left side and through. Matthews was off with the pitch, and he'll scamper to third. So the Angels again, a pair of singles, and it's first and third.
Jeff Mathis came into this game hitting just 193. Mike Napoli, the everyday catcher now. Mathis gets a chance to play, and he contributed a couple of base hits.
Perkins has gotten more than his share of ground balls here. Some have leaked through for hits. He could use one hit at somebody here with Rodriguez at the plate and runners on the corners and one out.
Rodriguez in his only at bat in the second inning got a low fastball and hit it over the center field fence. Now Perkins is looking for another ground ball hit at somebody.
Instead, a fly ball, and Span has another run. Matthews setting up for a catch or a tag. He does tag, and Span throws to second base. Span ran into foul territory, nearly had to reach back into fair territory. And Rodriguez has 3 runs batted in.
Yeah, you might think, well, Span ought to think about letting that ball drop right there, but it's still early in the ball game. If it's late in the ball game and maybe the Twins are down by a run or two, you think about letting that ball drop. But every out, very important.
50 pitches now for Perkins. But a 4-1 deficit, ball 1. Yeah, what do you say when there's a bunting situation? If the other team's going to give you an out, take it. This is a sacrifice situation. Go ahead and get the out and try to keep the damage to a minimum here in the 4th. Figgins has been struck out twice by Perkins.
Well, remember the other night here on Friday night in the 11th inning, it was that ground ball to Harris, and he tried to get the quick runner at home. And instead, maybe if they had turned a double play, the Angels wouldn't have scored 5 more runs. So just little decisions like that sometimes can turn you give them 1-run inning into a 6-run inning.
2-1. 7 hits for the Angels. 6 singles and a home run. Well,
Perkins has 2 strikeouts, getting Figgins in his 2 at-bats.
and now a walk puts Figgins aboard.
First walk for Perkins.
First and second 2 down for Ibar in our Arby's trivia question. When's the last time the Angels swept a 3-game series at the Metrodome?
I looked that up this morning.
So you should have it.
Have it, but I'm not telling. Steve S. is out there.
Right now, Rick Anderson's on the mound. Yankees have taken a 5-4 lead on the White Sox.
You mentioned something a couple innings ago about Perkins. At his last start, he gave up a home run to Konerko, and then he said, I've got to pitch my game. But what other game is he going to pitch? I mean, you go out there as a pitcher, you don't have the stuff that anybody else has on the staff, so you have to go out there and pitch your ball game.
That'd be a real good question to ask Glenn, I guess.
Well,
I have no idea how to answer that.
I think something maybe inside of him said, you know what, I'm not aggressive enough, and maybe I have to be more aggressive. That's about the only thing. I know I gave up a lot of home runs. Sometimes you give up a home run early, and it just burns inside, and you say, you know what, I'm tired of leaving balls out over the plate. I have to make more quality pitches, and it's something that inner drive that really comes out of you. It's not that you have to change your game plan. It's just adjusting to the stuff you have. And I always talk about adjusting, and we didn't see it from Swarzak last night, and we haven't really seen it from Perkins here. These Angels, they're a good hitting ball club, but has one Angel hitter found himself on his rear end so far in this series? No, it has not happened. They're very comfortable at the plate.
After the Rodriguez home run, Perkins did set down the next 6 batters, and then Matthews hit a liner in front of Perkins' lips, and they worked runners around, got a sacrifice fly to score another run here in the 4th.
And again, I'm not saying hit anybody. I'm just saying, make them know that you're out there.
Knocked down by Harris, and he tags the runner going by to end the inning. Denard Span started the inning with a great catch in foul territory, but the Angels got another run.
RBI in the 4th.
The Twins trying to come back here, get on the board against Jared Weaver, who's given up 1 walk and 1 hit. They both came in the 1st inning, and he hasn't given the Twins a base runner since, and struck out the side in the 3rd. Here's Orlando Cabrera, who struck out in the 1st inning. Down low, ball 1. Two and 0. And there's a strike.
Watching Cabrera play over the years remind me a lot of Pacelo Polanco. Polanco, the second baseman for the Detroit Tigers, a guy that doesn't strike out much, guy that doesn't draw a lot of walks.
There's a deep drive to left. Way back and gone. A home run for Cabrera.
And he's got a lot more power than Polanco. While his first Minnesota Twin home run is 5th of the year.
And it's a 4-2 ball game. bring up Mauer, who drove in the first run with a single to left field.
Getting greeted in the Twins dugout, Cabrera. His 5th home run, his 110th Major League home run. He knew it was gone as soon as he hit it.
And Mauer takes a ball, 1-1. Important ball game for the Twins. They have not played well, obviously, in this series and have given up a ton of runs, but it sure looks like Detroit's going to lose. It's 11-0 Cleveland at Progressive Field. That's pulled behind first, scooped up by Morales, and Mauer's retired. Friday night, the Indians won in extra innings. Last night, the Tigers won in extra innings, and so the Twins have a chance to probably pick up a game if they can come back and win this game. One down in the 4th. Here's Morneau. Morneau with a pop-up to Kendrick in the first inning. Actually, it didn't. It was the second out of the inning, and then Mauer was picked off at first base to end the inning. Breaking ball down and in, and looked like the same pitch that struck out Jason Kubel in the second inning. Off the tip of the glove. Fielded by Kendrick. Morneau retired, out number 2. And that'll get Kubel to the plate. You can ask us a question online at carsoup.com/baseball. Joe Piney from Hastings, Minnesota, wondering how many of Jason Kubel's home runs have been at least 2-run shots. And Jason with 18 home runs, only 8 have been with the bases empty, 4 2-run homers, 5 3-run homers, and a grand slam.
And that equals 10.
Carry the 1. 10.
Very good.
Well, we've seen this already. Cabrera, who says, he doesn't really want to be a coach, he just wants to be a contributor. But in Gomez and Casilla, there's a veteran Hispanic ball player whom they can relate to. It's a guy who's been around for a long time.
And the guy that plays the game hard too. Talking right there.
2 strikes to Kubel. And a called 3rd strike. So Weaver gives up a leadoff home run to Cabrera, and then gets the next 3 batters. With Jim Rich and Bert Blyleven, Dick Bramer here for the final game of the homestand. Let's hope to make it a 4-2 homestand after sweeping the White Sox. Abreu, Rivera, and Morales facing Perkins, who the Twins getting some runs here, a couple of them against Weaver, but unless you can stop the Angels at 4, it might not matter. 11 runs Friday, 11 runs Saturday, and 4 early runs in 4 innings here this afternoon. Strike one. One and one. 60 pitches for Perkins as he gets started here in the 5th inning. And that'll hurt Abreu for a while. 1-2.
He's going to walk it off. Perkins took a little off this pitch right here, and Abreu a little out front.
One and two. Breaking ball fouled to the screen. Labeled his start against the White Sox maybe the most important start of his season, just to prove physically he could get the job done and rocket into the crowd. I hope everybody's all right. Abreu hit a rocket just beyond the Twins dugout last night, and it stung a fan. This one got the fan on the right wrist. Now 2-2.
Boy, this guy has very good patience at the plate, Abreu. Just a quality hitter. He has been for 14 major league seasons.
No chance. Abreu still runs well, sore right foot and all. He's able to chop one and get a leadoff single here in the 5th.
Not much you can do as a pitcher or an infielder when that ball hits off the plate or right off in front of the plate. That high chopper right here. Perkins waiting for it to come down. But the only thing you can do is kind of go up a little bit higher to get it before. And you saw Perkins kind of catch it at the belt. And Abreu gets a base hit, his second hit.
So the leadoff man's on here in the 5th, and Juan Rivera. Rivera with a sacrifice fly and a pop-up. Having seen the Angels last weekend and this weekend, if Rivera gets a hit, you can almost envision him getting a hit to right field, and Abreu will be standing at third base. It's just been uncanny how the Angels have been able to do that, not just against the Twins, but against pretty much everybody the last couple months. This base hit going up the middle. Abreu will just check in at second base. So now the 5th inning starts with a pair of hits, and the Angels already have 9 of them, 8 singles and the Rodriguez home run. All right, you've got the answer now on our Arby's trivia question, I assume. The last time the Angels swept the Twins in a 3-gamer here at the Dome.
Well, you know what? I looked at it this morning. Doesn't mean I remember it.
Oh, you got to look it up again?
I got to look it up again. I know it was in 2000, in May of 2000.
Here's Kendry Morales with runners at first and second. Nobody out. And a first pitch strike.
Remember, we were looking that up in Anaheim when the Angels won that first game, or first 3 games of that 4-game series. And the Twins have never been swept by the Angels. And thank goodness they won that last game, and they still have not been swept in a 4-game series by the Angels.
High fly, right field. Span, back. Gone. A 3-run homer. Morales driving it the other way. His 22nd of the year. And the Angels continue to rack up hits, home runs, whatever they seem to need.
You see the strength of Morales right there. His 2nd home run as a right-handed hitter. Just taking that pitch the other way, and smiles all around by the Angels as they take a 7-2 lead.
And you knew he hit it out as soon as he hit it. Base is empty, nobody out. Kendrick at the plate. Swing and a miss. So a 2-run home run, now a 3-run home run in the 5th. And 2 strikes.
I always say those solo home runs won't hurt you, but those 2-run and 3-run home runs, they hurt.
Brian Dunsing warming up. He's had to kind of hold on to him and not pitch him out of the bullpen, pending Liriano's bullpen session here today. But as Jim Rich said before, that all went fine. Liriano will pitch Wednesday in Cleveland, and Dunsing able to pitch out of the bullpen if need be. Angels have scored in every inning but the 3rd. To the left field corner. Young won't catch it. It hits the base of the wall. Kendrick to second. And he's in with a double. So the 5th inning starts with 4 straight hits.
Well, Perkins getting roughed up around here this afternoon. Kendrick with his 12th double of the year.
Seen the manager with his hat off more than with his hat on in this series. It's been a very frustrating series to see this Angel team now score 29 runs so far against the Twins pitching staff.
Again, very comfortable at the plate.
Here's Matthews. Fly ball to center and a single and a run score. Outside, ball 1.
Well, last night's ball game, by the 5th inning, every starter for the Angels had a hit in the ball game. It's not just one guy that's beating up the Twins. It's the whole lineup.
Right.
Here tonight, the only one that does not have a hit is Sean Figgins.
2-0. The Angels, who have for most of last weekend and this weekend too now bludgeoned Twins pitching, keep putting up some of the crookedest numbers you'll ever see. They scored 9 in an inning against the Twins last Saturday. We've got a 2 and a 3 hung up there so far in this game. 6 runs in the extra inning win on Friday night. Flip foul, 2-1. Twins hoping that the left-hander on the mound turning some of these switch hitters around, the Twins would have better luck, but Again, the Angels have scored in every inning but one so far here this afternoon. Another base hit. Kendrick to third. He's going to be held. Young fumbles the ball a little bit, but no advance. And the fifth inning starts with 5 straight hits. And that might be the end of the day for Glenn Perkins.
Ron Gardenhire making the move out to the mound.
So the Twins go to their bullpen in the 5th inning today. And it'll be Brian Dunsing.
Hits allowed, a couple home runs, a 2-run home run, a 3-run home run. Angels have that 7-2 lead. It'll be up to Brian Dunsing to try to keep that score at that 7-2 lead. For the Angels, Dunsing last worked on Wednesday when he started in replace of Francisco Liriano. Did a great job, worked 5 innings, gave up only 2 runs. Got a no decision. Twins ended up winning that ball game 3-2.
Jeff Mathis, not known for his bat, and he's got a couple of singles today. He'll hit here with runners at first and third, nobody out. Twins already down by 5. He'll play the middle infield back here with Kendrick at third and Matthews at first. Ball 1. Mathis dealing with a sore back, unable to play, or at least Angels opting not to play him in the first 2 games, but well enough to start and play here in game 3. Foul back. 1-1.
Somebody made a great grab. Pops made the catch.
You think so? You don't think the young man made the catch?
No, I think Dad took care of that.
Pop straight up. Lauer coming back. And it hit the net. Not far from a playable ball for Mauer. One and 2. Two and 2. Yankees lead the White Sox 7-4. Cleveland leading Detroit 11-1. But of course, none of that matters unless the Twins start playing better themselves. They're in 3rd place in the division and They're in danger of falling back below the 500 mark today. 2-2. And another foul. Dunsing did everything he could have been asked to do in his start against the White Sox.
Yeah, he pitched great. He pitched an outstanding ball game. 5 innings. He threw 64 pitches. Had 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. 10 strikeouts so far at the major league level in 20 innings pitched.
Well, he could use one here. Outs of any kind here in this 5th inning would be welcome. And there's a strikeout. 1 down. That'll bring up Rodriguez.
Take a look at last Wednesday. Brian Dunsing in that start against the Chicago White Sox. He was matched up against Jose Contreras in that ball game.
And the Twins ended up completing the sweep of the White Sox, 3-2 in the ball game. Here's Rodriguez. Swing and a miss, strike 1. Twins winning 3 very close ball games against the White Sox. Well pitched ball games by scores of 4-3, 5-3, 3-2. That's the type of games the Twins want to play more of. But then the Angels have come to town and shellacked the Twins pitching staff.
Well, again, this is a hot ball club. The Angels aren't the only team, or the Twins aren't the only team the Angels have been beating up on. Showed you in the open, they are 15-3 over their last 18 road games.
One and 2.
They could use another strikeout right here.
And that'll roll away from Mauer, and Kendrick will come in from third. A wild pitch, allowing the 8th run to score.
Yeah, right off the tip of the glove of Joe. Trying to throw that 2-seamer down and away. And that ball just slipping out of the glove and slowly rolling back to the backstop.
Two and 2 to Rodriguez. And now the count is full. Sneak a fastball by him. We were talking about Swarzak last night, and there was a marked decrease in his velocity after the first couple innings last night. And Ron Gardner this morning saying it was a combination of factors. Long at bats, just seemed to run out of gas. He threw 122 pitches in his prior start.
But he had, what, 5-6 days off?
He had an extra day. You're right. He had an extra day. And now Dunsing issues a walk to the number 9 hitter, and that'll put runners at first and second now with 1 out in the 5th. Figgins has been quiet, hasn't put a ball in play yet. He struck out twice and walked against Glenn Perkins. Driven foul, strike one. Twins had a chance to win the ball game Friday. In fact, they probably should have won the ball game. They had a 5-2 lead. Of course, the Angels came back late, sent the game into extra innings, and then had the big inning to wrap up the series opener. Ooh, where was that pitch? Breaking ball. It looked like it hit the outside corner, but it's called a ball, 1-1.
Jerry Davis probably saying it went around the plate.
Now that called a strike.
I think he just made up for that round the plate once.
That pitch looked low. And Figgins can appreciate the humor in that.
Okay, now we're even.
Mike Scioscia remaining pretty intense on every pitch. And now down and in, 2-2. So it's been kind of a mind-numbing half inning here. The Twins were in it. They got a run back on the Cabrera home run to make it 4-2, and already 4 runs have scored. A threat for more, and still only 1 out. Dribbler to third. Out there, and Casillas' throw not in time as Figgins beating the relay. Matthews advances to third, 2 down.
Figgins, one of those speedsters right there, kind of got jammed. Quick turn by Harris over to Casillas. Figgins just beating it through the relay throw. So runners at the corners with 2 outs.
The 9th batter to hit this inning, Eric Aybar. Ball 1. Ground ball hit to Cabrera. Bobbles it. Everybody's safe, and he makes his first error as a Twin, and a ball hit right at him. And another run scores. It's 9-2.
Well, Cabrera's first Twin error, his 15th error of the year at short. Like that right hand got into the glove, and then the ball fell out.
And the misery continues here in the top of the 5th. Twins have been on the field for 26 minutes in this half inning. That's looped down the left field line, and that'll twist foul. That's a long time to be out on the field, 26 minutes. Don't know if in Mark Buehrle's perfect game in the entire 9 innings the White Sox were in the field for 26 minutes. And particularly tough, of course, on the catcher, who's had to deal with a pitching change, a wild pitch. A roller to second. Casillas has it to end the inning. Good one for the Angels, not so much for the Twins. And they scored 5 times to take a 9-2 lead. and by 3 Wednesdays at Arby's. Wait a minute, 3 Wednesdays.
I'm assuming that's Hollis Bond right there from South Dakota. You're celebrating your 80th birthday. Happy birthday to you, Hollis. There you go. We'll circle you again. He's looking. There you go.
Oh. 2 for the price of 1.
Happy birthday to you and celebrating with his family.
Delmon Young takes ball 1. It sure seems like Weaver has delivered very few first pitch strikes tonight. Nevertheless, he's got a 9-2 lead. 2-0.
He's faced 15 batters, been able to get strike 1 on 8 of the 15.
Has he really? Young, Harris, and Gomez trying to respond after a 5-run top of this inning.
Well, Weaver through all this has allowed only 2 hits, an RBI single of Joe Mauer in the first, and then the solo home run off the bat of Orlando Cabrera in the 4th. 1 walk, 6 strikeouts.
2-2.
Weaver trying to win his 11th game of the year. Goes into this game 10-3 on the year.
And Young strikes out and loses the bat.
And he picks up strikeout number 7. Josh Beckett leading the American League with 13 wins. Like a little cutter right there. Delmon losing the bat. For the first out here in the bottom of the 5th.
Brendan Harris hit a fly ball to center his first time up.
I know our games are televised sometimes all around the world. We'd like to say hello to Lori Knott from Panama City, Panama.
Really?
She's originally from Mazeppa, Minnesota. She's now working down in Panama through the government.
Well, that's Rod Carew, Mariano Rivera, Juan Berenguer country.
Manny Sanguillen, Ben Ogilvy, Omar Marino, who I'll see later this month. Yep.
Oh yeah, when is that reunion?
The last weekend in August. We'll be missing that Kansas City series on the road. Good to see everybody from the 79 Pirates. Looking forward to it. Our 30-year reunion. Haven't seen that long ago.
Mazeppa down there around Winona in the southeastern part of the state. 2-2. Now you will, and of course we had the 87 20-year reunion here. Mr. Puckett not here. Mr. Necro not here. Of your teammates in 79, Willie Stargell, of course, not around. Anybody else?
Bill Robinson.
Yeah, that's right.
John Milner. Rod Scurry.
And Harris strikes out, and Weaver has the Twins eating out of his hand with this big lead.
8 strikeouts for Weaver.
Twins next home action August 11th when the Royals come to town for 3 games. Just 27 regular season games left in the Dome, and you can be part of the fun. Tickets for the Twins Royals games are available right now at twinsbaseball.com or call 1-800-33-TWINS. There is this. It looks as if the Twins might be swept here by the Angels, but now for the next 2 weeks the Twins back in their relative comfort zone, playing teams within the division for the next 2 weeks. And I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that the next 2 weeks might make or break the Twins season.
Yeah, Twins have had good success in the Central Division, 20-12 against the Central teams.
Haven't seen much of the Indians. We'll see them in 2 series here in the next 2 weeks. Big series in Detroit next weekend. The Royals here, as we said. 2-1 to Carlos Gomez. You know, if you're Rick Anderson and Ron Gardenhire, how can you not take your cap off and scratch your head? Because it really has been, since the All-Star break, you know, both extremes. The Twins pitched really well against the Rangers. Could have, maybe should have swept that series, and well against the White Sox. It's the rest of it that hasn't been fun to watch.
Second time Weaver has struck out the side. There's some more people from South Dakota. You were here by Circle.
It's the Brad Meyer pheasant hunting guide party out there from South Dakota. Juan Rivera leading off the sixth against Brian Dunsing.
Twins needed 42 total pitches to get through that fifth inning. Dunsing now with 24 pitches.
Popped up. Casilla has it covered. One down. Follow the Minnesota Twins on your iPhone and iPod Touch with MLB.com at Bat 2009. Featuring play-by-play, video highlights, and live audio broadcasts. You can visit twinsbaseball.com on your iPhone or iPod Touch to purchase. One gone in the sixth. Here's Kendry Morales, the biggest hit of the afternoon, and there have been plenty of them, but the biggest one off the bat of Morales, a 3-run opposite field home run. Think anybody in Southern California cares anymore that Casey Kochman was there for a while last year and Mark Teixeira was there too? I mean, this guy's had a breakout season at first base for the Angels.
And he's still young, only 25 years old. Defected from Cuba back in 2004. After 8 unsuccessful attempts, finally got out of Cuba, signed by the Angels as a free agent in 2004. And just kind of waiting his time.
Morales now with the 2-1 count. Speaking of Cubans, Minnesota's favorite Cuban, Tony Oliva, doing the Spanish language broadcast this afternoon, 2 booths down.
Tony, you are here by Circle.
It's a fascinating story how Tony got out of Cuba and actually how he stayed here in the country. Ground ball to second. Casilla has it. Tony was on his way back to Cuba after failing as a professional baseball player here. And then the Bay of Pigs invasion and the resulting embargo of travel between Cuba and the United States kept Tony here, and he got a second chance and took advantage of it. But if not for the Bay of Pigs invasion, we never would have heard of Tony Oliva. 2 down in the sixth. Here's Howie Kendrick. And there's strike one. Well, Dunsing's job here, simply put, is to just take the game, and if he can at all, finish it. And give the rest of the Twins bullpen today and tomorrow off before the Cleveland series. Swing and a miss, 2 strikes. Cleveland has beaten Detroit to take that series 2-1, and they thumped them pretty good today, 11-1. I'm not sure if it's a good thing to be playing the Indians right now or not. Tigers probably didn't think so. They were lucky to win the game last night. Kendrick strikes out. Dunsing has a 1-2-3-6. Off. Let's add a little Spanish flavor to our broadcast and join the Twins Radio Network and Alfonso Fernandez and Tony Oliva.
Está escuchando la cadena de radio de los Twins de Minnesota. A batear Alexi Casilla. Lanzamiento es bola. Se prepara Weaver. Viene el lanzamiento. Y es strike. Una bola y un strike para Alexi Casilla. 9-2 el marcador. Se prepara Weaver. Viene. Lanzamiento es bola. 2 bolas y un strike. Le recordamos una vez más que si usted está viendo este juego a través del canal 29, les invitamos porque tenemos el segundo sonido de audición. Aquí saca rola por la segunda. Levanta la pelota, el tiro a primera y es out. Del 4 al 3.
I got the pelota part.
Yeah, my Spanish isn't very good, but I had no idea that Alexi Casilla was Ted Williams' nephew.
Well, I didn't realize that Tony didn't. He talked so much on it. My goodness.
1 down in the 6th. And that'll bring up Denard Span. Well, Jared Weaver in essentially the same situation Joe Saunders found himself in yesterday. Saunders hadn't won a ball game in about 5 weeks, but the Angels, with the way they're scoring runs, make it a lot easier for a starting pitcher to pick up a win. Weaver's pitched better than Saunders did last night. And a called strike, 2 strikes to Span.
Now Weaver with 9 punch-outs so far here this afternoon. He had a season-high 10 strikeouts against the Toronto Blue Jays back in early June.
Weaver sent down 7 in a row ever since Cabrera hit his home run.
Span trying to keep that 10-game hitting streak alive, a career high.
He'll have at least one more opportunity after this plate appearance. been many highlights today, but Spann's catch in foul territory by the Angel bullpen, one of the best catches you'll ever see. And how did Mathis hang on to that foul tip? What a great catch by the catcher. 2 down.
Strikeout number 10 for Weaver.
And with 2 down in the 6th, let's find Jim Rich.
Well, this is Orlando Cabrera's just his second game as a Twin, but already he's doing what manager Ron Gardenhire wanted him to do, take charge of the infield. And Dick, you mentioned it, he doesn't want him to coach the players out there, but he wants to be a good influence on the young players, especially guys like Alexi Casilla. And I talked to Orlando this morning, and he said he's here to make his teammates believe they can win every day. And if he has to be on top of Alexi every single play, he will do it. The hardest thing so far for him, making the transition from Oakland to Minnesota, finding a hat that fits right. That's been his biggest problem so far. Back up to you guys.
What size is his head?
Oh, he's one of those professionals, Dick, that goes about his business. I mean, he comes to the ballpark every day expecting to win. He's got a lot of major league at bats, almost 6,400 major league at bats. He's going to be a good influence on Casilla and also Carlos Gomez. We've already shown you 2 or 3 times that he kind of sits by them, or they sit by him, just kind of like a sponge. You learn off of guys like this as a youngster.
1-2. Nice job there keeping the at bat alive. Ozzie Guillen, his manager last year, said the Twins, this is after the acquisition, the Twins got a lot better with their acquisition of Orlando Cabrera. And of course, Ozzie went on to say that Tigers got better with the acquisition of Jared Washburn, and the White Sox will get better with the acquisition of Jake Peavy once he comes off the disabled list. 1-2. A foul to the net.
This might be universal, I don't know, but he had that down pretty good.
One and 2. Pitchers don't get to do that, though, do they? You don't have big secret handshakes or specialized handshakes.
I never had that. Just give me the old-fashioned nice goal.
I could just see you and Phil Roof choreographing something after you struck out the side or something.
I would not want to touch his hands. They were huge.
Oh, okay. And now Cabrera and home plate umpire Jerry Davis having a little discussion. I think Davis has cut himself in his left wrist. And I'm not sure how that happened.
Dave Prumer, the trainer, one of the trainers coming out.
How does that happen? Prumer will put a little antibiotic on there and a bandage.
He's got an owie.
Tape it up. Let's go play. I'm curious how it happened.
Just rubbing the blood in.
Spit into your hands, rub them together. Let's go.
Yeah. No big deal. Umpires go through a lot. All the traveling, all the different places.
Two and 2 again to Cabrera on a day when the Twins are honoring first responders. There'd be no shortage of medical attention for Jerry Davis if things go downhill from here. Cabrera hanging tough. 2 and 2 from Weaver. And now 3 and 2. Mauer hoping for a chance here in the 6th. Pop up, backing out of play.
Well, the 10 strikeouts for Weaver, that ties a career high. I mentioned he had 10 strikeouts earlier this year. in a ball game.
Full count. That's a very good plate appearance by Orlando Cabrera. Fell behind 0-2 and ends up trotting to first.
A second walk for Weaver in the ball game. And that's the professionalism right there. That every at-bat is a quality at-bat. 9-2 ball game. His goal to get on base, and he's able to do that via the walk.
Mauer singled in a run in the first inning. And then hit a ground ball to Morales in the fourth. Just the fourth Twins base runner, 2 of them on walks. Mauer's single, Cabrera's home run. That's been it. Up and away, ball 1. After this game, the Twins are done with the Angels. Gratefully, they still have games to come against the Rangers and A's. They're already done with the Mariners out of the West. 2-0. The only team the Twins have to play out of the East, the Toronto Blue Jays. They go to Toronto for 4. We were talking about that last night. Roughly 2 out of 3 games the Twins have left to play or will be played within the division. Swinging a foul straight back.
Pitches for Jarrett Weaver. 62 strikes.
Two and one to Mauer. Two and two. Princess has a baseball and the crown and the sash and the whole shooting match right in front of, right behind Joe Casey. Now, did Casey get the ball and give it to her, you think?
Well, she got a thumbs up from Joe.
Mauer pulls it foul. Joe chipped a base hit to left field to score Span from second base to tie the game at 1. And the Angels retook the lead and haven't looked back since. And a strikeout to end the inning. To the 7th, the Angels in front by 7. Dunsing, who had a 1-2-3-6, will now face the bottom third of the Angel lineup in the 7th.
Yeah, Dunsing's done a very good job since replacing Glenn Perkins in the 4th inning. Starting his 3rd inning of relief. There's a walk, 1 strikeout. Is not allowed a hit.
Matthews, Mathis, and Rodriguez. Ball 1. Matthews with a pair of hits and a pair of runs scored. 2-0. Tigers lost big time to the Indians, and the White Sox are trailing in the bottom of the 7th, 7-4 to the Yankees. Swing and a miss, 2-1.
Dunsing, 26 years old, Twins' 3rd round pick back in 2005 out of University of Nebraska.
A little low, and it's 3-1.
He went through the Tommy John surgery when he was at the University of Nebraska.
They put a fastball in a good spot, got a swing and a miss.
Good fastball right there. Started the season with the Twins, went down to AAA Rochester in early April. Made 13 starts and then get recalled the first part of July.
Tapper to the right side, and Casilla flips to Morneau, 1 away. Here's the Comcast game summary, and almost all Angels again here today.
Well, the Angels up 1-0. Joe Mauer an RBI single off of Jarrett Weaver in the 2nd inning. The Angels came back with a 2-run home run off the bat of Sean Rodriguez to take the lead. Orlando Cabrera gets his first home run as a Twin. That coming in the 4th inning. Then the Angels 5 runs in the top of the 5th, highlighted by the 3-run home run from Kendry Morales.
Mathis hooks one foul, 1 strike.
Perkins worked the first 4 innings, 4+ innings, gave up 12 hits, 9 runs, 8 earned runs with a walk and a couple of strikeouts.
Out to center field, Gomez sprints in, makes the catch out number 2. And that'll bring up Sean Rodriguez.
One thing Dunsing is doing, he's hitting that spot down and away, making some very good pitches outer half of the plate.
And I heard you say that that's the one pitch you wanted to have command of when you came out of the pen.
Again, you know, I always thought of that Ted Williams chart on if where a pitch would be in the location of a strike zone, what he would have hit. And that pitch down and away, I think he would have hit 230 if every pitch he thought was down and away. He would have had a tough time hitting that pitch.
So why would you throw it any place else?
Well, that's the pitch you want to try to control. Sometimes it's the hardest to control. That pitch right there.
Nub to the right side. Dunsing covers and has a nice 1-2-3 7th inning. And the Twins acknowledging the varied contributions of the first responders in Twins territory, giving them admission to the ball game for just $1, and whether it's firemen, policemen, 911 operators, what have you. Nice gesture by the Twins to thank the men and women who, in emergency situations, are asked to perform their best.
Yeah, we thank you.
9-2. The Angels in front. Twins have 3 innings worth of at-bats left. They'll try to find some way of breaking through against Jared Weaver and then getting into the Angel bullpen, maybe doing some damage there.
Well, Weaver a career high 11 punch-outs so far in the ballgame, starting his 7th inning of work. 103 pitches thrown by Weaver. He's given up only 2 hits. The RBI single we showed you off the bat of Joe Mauer in the first inning, and then Cabrera's home run.
Into the 8th inning now, 7-4 Yankees. And Morneau will lead things off for the Twins here in the home half of the 7th. High and deep to center. Gone. A home run for Morneau, number 28.
Another great crowd here this afternoon gets to watch the American League home run leader hit another one. Justin jumping on that first pitch from Weaver and hitting it over the center field fence. His 28th home run is 86 RBI.
Teixeira hasn't hit one against the White Sox, so Morneau with a 2 home run cushion in the home run race. And ball 1 out of Kubel. 431 feet, the tape measure on Morneau's home run. Weaver has struck out Kubel twice. Now the count 1-1. Two and 1. Jason's average down to 300 after the 2 strikeouts. Three and 1. Drilled to right center field. And to the wall. Kubel has an extra base hit. So a home run backed up by a double, and the Twins making some noise here in the 7th.
Oh, Angel bullpen starting to loosen up right here. Weaver leaving a pitch up to Morneau right there. A pitch to Jason Kubel. And Kubel, good solid swing right here, lining that ball into right center. Well, the Twins get their 4th hit of the ball game. And for Kubel, his 22nd double of the year.
Young with a foul out and a strikeout.
Justin Spire loosening up.
Over the inside corner, and Mathis might have been crossed up. He's going to come out and talk to Weaver. Red Sox thumping the Orioles. It's 16-7. And only in the 6th inning.
And the only other time that the Twins have had a runner at second base was Denard Span in the 1st inning.
Yeah. Stopped by Mathis. Boy, he has a reputation of being a solid defensive catcher, and we've seen him do a really good job behind the plate here this afternoon. 1-1. One and two.
Well, that breaking ball of Weaver, good tight rotation. Career high 11 strikeouts, came into this ball game 10th in the American League in strikeouts with 115. Justin Verlander of the Tigers leading the American League.
Young really stepped into that pitch. 41,079 the paid attendance today. Fantastic support from Twins fans throughout this homestand. Young trying to battle Weaver here and get a base hit. See if the Twins can string some things together here in the 7th. High and fairly deep to center. Matthews has a long run. He gets there, and Kubel will try to advance. Matthews with the throw, not in time. So a deep fly ball for Young. And Kubel moves up a base. Please join Michael Cuddyer and his Twins teammates on Sunday, August 30th. They'll trade their bats and gloves for aprons and serving trays to support the boys and girls clubs of the Twin Cities. There's a cocktail reception, a lavish 4-course meal, and exciting auctions all at the new Restaurant Max in downtown Minneapolis. It'll be my pleasure to MC that event again. For further information or to RSVP, please contact Restaurant Max at 612-340-0303. And the Angels make a pitching change. Brendan Harris will be the first man to face the new Angel relief pitcher, Justin Spire.
Spire making his 40th relief appearance. He's worked 38 1/3 innings, 15 walks, 37 strikeouts. He worked here on Friday night.
It's a base hit, and it'll drive in a run. So Harris jumps on the first pitch. Well, the Twins have made it a 9-4 ball game.
Well, Brendan Harris picking up RBI number 28 on the year. Well, the book is closed on Jarrett Weaver. See the fastball that came riding back into the strike zone. Weaver 6 1/3 innings. Gave up 4 runs, all earned, 4 hits with 2 walks and a career high 11 strikeouts.
We'll see what Gomez can get done here. Swings at the first pitch, 1 strike. Over the years, when the Twins have done well, when they've won divisions and when they've had a lineup that produces a lot of runs, they've been able to have innings where one at bat feeds into another, and there's a rhythm through the lineup. And one of the problems this year has been with some guys really struggling offensively. They haven't been able to follow up one good at bat with another. Gomez strikes out on 3 pitches. That's exactly what we've been talking about.
And the third time that Gomez has struck out here this afternoon.
Swinging from his heels, down by 5 runs. 2 down, and here's Casilla.
Spire, you see the movement right there, and Gomez just getting locked up. And that pitch down and in.
Let's see if Casilla can keep the inning alive. He takes a strike. And now strike 2. And he swings at a pitch a foot outside.
Yeah, split finger from Spire, nasty.
3 hits, a couple of runs for the Twins in the 7th. $30,000 now. There are only 4 teams in the American League who've drawn more fans on an average per game average than the Twins, the Tigers, the Red Sox, the Angels, and the Yankees. Strike 1 to Sean Figgins.
Well, Brian Dunsing's done a good job since relieving Perkins. He's retired 7 straight.
Hasn't given up a hit. I don't believe, has he?
Nope.
The walk to the second battery face. Ibar reached on an error. And since getting out of the 5th, he's had a pair of 1, 2, 3 innings. 1-1 to Sean Figgins. Mentioned the Twins have an off day tomorrow, and then they hit the road for a week. 3 in Cleveland, 3 in Detroit. The Angels, the Twins hope that they can stay hot. They'll go to take on the red hot White Sox for 3 games after an off day tomorrow. Who do you think is the principal threat to the Twins winning the division this year? If you had to pick one, Chicago, Detroit.
I think it's going to be Detroit.
Because
of Washburn, and you have Verlander. You have a very good pitching staff. I think Edwin Jackson was a good move by the Tigers getting Jackson from Tampa Bay.
Rick Porcello pitched a good ball game last night for the Tigers.
8 innings, only 1 run allowed. Will they miss Joel Zumaya? That's probably the big question mark. Is their bullpen?
The White Sox have had to play without their closer for the last few ball games. Bobby Jenks, who missed some time with kidney stones. Wondering why he didn't pitch in the final game here or even warm up. Figgins draws his second walk of the afternoon. And Dunsing will pitch from the stretch to Ibar. The Twins made a little noise in the bottom of the 7th. Put up by 5 runs. You wouldn't think this would be a bunting situation with Abreu on deck. And Ibar moving up in the batting order because he hit the ball so well in July. One and 0.
Yeah, the Angels have some young, talented kids. Ibar, only 25 years old, his 4th season with the Angels. Rick Anderson now going out to the mound to talk to Dunsing. Mentioned before, Ibar, a 300 hitter from both sides of the plate.
Jose Majares warming up. Would love it if Dunsing can get him through the 8th inning here. Maybe have Majares pitch the 9th. And obviously hoping the lineup can stage a comeback against the Angels.
Well, again, he started that ball game on Wednesday against the Chicago White Sox. He threw 64 pitches. Right now, 50 pitches thrown by Brian Dunsing.
Two and 0. 3 and 0. And a 4-pitch walk to Ibar. The inning starts with a pair of walks. That'll bring up Abreu. Twins are back in town beginning August 11th against the Royals, and you can take advantage of the Twins family section to any of the 3 games. Tickets are just $14. You get a hot dog and soft drink included with the price. And you can get tickets in this alcohol-free section by calling 800-33-TWINS right now. Abreu with runners aboard and nobody out. One and 0. And that's going to be the end of the day for Brian Dunsing. With his inability to throw strikes here early in the 8th inning, the Twins are going to bring Majares in. No hits allowed by Dunsing, but a couple of walks to start the 8th.
Yeah, good job by the left-hander. Getting a pat on the chest from Ron Gardenhire. night, a third of an inning.
First and second, nobody out. Two and oh. Now, as the Twins are making their pitching change, Mike Scioscia came out to talk to Jerry Davis, and I'm going to try to find it here in the rule book. I wonder, because Rick Anderson went to the mound after the Ibar walk and then came to the dugout. 3-0. And then Dunsing threw ball one, and Ron Gardenhire came out to make the pitching change, and I'm not so sure that what the rule is, whether after returning after one trip to the mound you have to let the plate appearance play out the following one.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just, a number of pitches, or if he can turn around and come back out and take them out after one pitch.
At any rate, now Abreu walks, and they're loaded up, and the Angels haven't, I'm not even sure that they've so much as swung the bat here in the eighth inning. Ron Gardenhire was talking about Maharis and how he comes in, and the first batter seems like he always falls behind 3-0, and then he comes back and gets him. But here, this time he inherited a 1-0 count and fell behind 3-0.
And a walk is charged to Maharis, even though he came in a 1-0 count.
Well, here's Rivera, bases loaded, nobody out. Twins playing the infield back here, down by 5 runs. And a strike. They've talked with Maharis about trying to change his warm-up routine somehow so he's ready to throw strikes with his first delivery, but it's been a constant pattern with him coming into the game and immediately throwing a couple 3 balls to the first batter. 1-1.
We've seen from Maharis from time to time when he does come in, he's always kicking the dirt where that right foot lands, and the hardest thing I think for a reliever coming in when you've had 2 or 3 other pitchers out there making their own little hole, you have to kind of find where your right foot's going to land as far as your release point. Right there he kind of slipped a little bit.
2-1.
Go back and kick it out. Take a look right here. Some guys stride further than others.
Three and 1. And Maharis staring off toward North Dakota someplace, wondering where the strike zone is, or why he can't find it.
Well, that's what you want to do as a pitcher, exactly what he did right there. Go back to the back of the mound, kind of regroup, get refocused. And Rivera in a hitter's count right here.
Fouled back. Here's just to clarify what the rule says. The manager or coach is prohibited from making a second visit to the mound while the same batter is at bat. So I would imagine that was Mike Scioscia's appeal to Jerry Davis, saying, hey, you can't do that. Once the prior at bat ends, the next at bat officially begins. Now to the matter at hand. The count's full, and so are the bases with nobody out. To center, and Gomez toward the gap makes the catch and throws the ball to second base. So sacrifice fly. Rivera driving in the 10th Angel run. So in all 3 games of this series, they've scored 10 or more runs.
Yeah, second sacrifice RBI by Rivera. Now with 60 RBI on the year. Yeah, you wonder, Dick, if it was a 2-2 ball game or something like that. I think Mike Scioscia had a legitimate beat, but I think because of the score, the 9-4, both he and the crew chief Jerry Davis behind the plate probably let it go.
Here's Morales. And that's hit high and deep to left field. It's in the air a long time and long enough. Another 3-run home run for Morales, his second of the game.
Boy, for a guy that had only one home run from the right side of the plate, 21 overall coming into the game, he hits his second home run from the right side of the plate. 6 RBI for Morales in this ball game.
2 runs charged to Dunsing, 2 runs charged to Maharis. He hit one to the opposite field. He pulled that one. 35 runs scored by the Angels so far in this 3-game series. They have pounded out 50 hits. Here's Kendrick. Strike one.
Well, at least he'll go to Chicago hot.
Yankees have to bring in Mariano Rivera in the bottom of the 8th to try to put out the fire of the White Sox, who scored once and have the tying run aboard. 1-1 to Kendrick. Two and one. Three and one. Maharis has thrown 14 pitches, 5 strikes. After relieving Dunsing, who walked the first 2 batters of the inning. Technically, the first 2, and then ball 1 to the next batter. Base hit to left. It has to be wilting if you're a position player and you're out there for another long inning after what happened in the 5th, when it seemed like the Twins were out on the field for about a half an hour. (13-4), and here's Gary Matthews Jr. Rivera got out of the 8th inning, so it's 7-5 going to the 9th. Strike on the inside corner. The swinging strike. 0-2. We explained it last weekend in Anaheim. The Angels wearing 2 patches on their uniform. Number 34 for Nick Adenhart, who was killed in the car accident. Bauer with the ball getting by him, and Kendrick scampering to second.
Yeah, it looked like Joe was crossed up right there. Take a look at this right here. Joe expecting fastball away, and as a fastball in, it just got away from him.
One and two with Kendrick at second. Two and two. The other patch the Angels are wearing on the right shoulder, Preston, for Preston Gomez, who passed away in January.
Very nice man. Got to know Preston Gomez over the years, and then also when I played with the Angels. Class act.
Up until the last few years, he still would do a lot of traveling with the Angels. I remember seeing him at the Metrodome not that long ago. Fouled straight back. Longtime manager and scout, working as a consultant for the Angels toward the end. 2-2. Gary Matthews Jr. Fly ball, and Cabrera catches out number 2. And now Jeff Mathis. Mathis contributing a couple of hits and a run scored. Well, it'll be interesting if the Angels do in fact win their division, if they get into postseason play, what this model year offense will do come playoff time, because one of the reasons the Angels have had early exits in the playoffs, they haven't been able to get much done offensively. But this seems to be a different approach for them. They've always been a good base running team. They have as much power as the Twins do, but they, at least right now, seem to be firing on all cylinders. And eventually, perhaps within a week or so, they're going to get Vladimir Guerrero and Torrey Hunter back.
Yeah, but again, it all goes down to the pitching. John Lackey, who's working on Tuesday night, he has come off the disabled list, and he's pitched really, really well. You know, you need Jarrett Weaver. You need maybe 3 starters going into postseason that can really pick it up. You find that next level.
Weaver at times looked dominant here today, even though his numbers, no swing, says C.B. Buckner, even though his numbers in the box score tomorrow aren't going to look that great. And now Maharis, I think, had some discussion with Buckner, and Mauer will walk the ball back to the mound, maybe trying to calm him down a little bit. Looked like he might have gone on that half swing. 25 pitches for Maharis in the game. And there's strike 3 to put an end to an unsightly 8th inning. It's 13-4.
I think we said that a lot.
As his team is up 13-4 right now. I'm Jim Rich, and I talked to Torrey this morning about his old team, now almost 2 years removed from being a member of it. He still likes the nucleus of this club, obviously with Mauer and Morneau, who doesn't like that, but he also likes the young players, especially Carlos Gomez, who really, he says, runs like a deer in the outfield and is still so young, still learning the game. And he also feels that Kubel is a very sneaky ball player and somebody that's really going to have an impact on this franchise. And of course, Michael Cuddyer finally healthy again. So even though this is a rough afternoon for Twins fans, Torrey says the future looks pretty good as this rotation matures a little bit. Back upstairs to you guys.
Yeah, thank you, Jim.
Denard Span leading off the 8th, and he takes ball 1, swings at the next pitch, 1-1. Span is presumably last at bat, last plate appearance to extend his hitting streak.
Well, Shane Lukes coming out of the bullpen. He worked an inning in the third of shutout baseball last night. Retired all 4 batters he faced in the 8th and 9th inning.
High chopper over the mound. Ibar got Span by a step. 1-1. Sundays are Twins territory on My 29. That's why you're watching right now. And next Sunday, the Twins will wrap up the road trip and the 3-game series in Detroit against the Tigers. Twins and Tigers next Sunday at 1, only on My 29. There's the road trip. Yeah, the game is at noon. It's 1 o'clock Eastern time. And Detroit, an hour ahead of us. We'll have that game for you at noon next Sunday. 1 strike to Cabrera. A strikeout, a home run, and a walk. That's to right. It'll carry out to Willits, who's out in right field. 2 down. Mauer. Mauer with an RBI single his first time up, tying the game at 1. And then the game kind of fell apart after that. 13-4. Twins have been out hit 14-5. Strike 1. One and one. Mauer started the day 10 points behind Ichiro Suzuki in the batting race. Mariners playing a Sunday night special down in Arlington, Texas tonight. And of course, the Rangers watching these games with some interest. Starting the day 4 games behind in the American League West. That's hit well to left center field. And off the top of the wall, not a home run, instead a double for Mauer. It looked like it hit the very top of the left center field wall.
Well, I thought that ball was out right there, but the fans out there not reacting at all. You don't see this too often. Joe Mauer taking the ball the other way. And you can see this ball hit right off the top of the fence and then come back into play. See how they have that first row where fans cannot sit there, so they can't reach out over and maybe interfere.
And Ron Gardenhire is going to say, hey, let's take a look at that. We have the technology here to do this, and make sure you get it right. This is the one appealable or reviewable option, a home run, and so at least they're going to get the umpires to confer. It would have been, I would guess, the second base umpire, Mike Everett, who got the best look at it.
Let's see it hitting the padding right there.
How does that...
How does that not go out? Right.
With the force behind the ball hitting a flat surface, how does it not go out?
It must have hit right where the cement and the padding meet. And it ricocheted back out.
So now they're going to go ahead and take a look at it, and I think they'll see what you've just seen. That ball never did leave the ballpark.
This is where the umpires go to review the play. Good thing everybody cleaned up back there.
All right, there's the secret box. You got to have a secret key, a secret code to get in there.
There's a monitor behind there.
And they'll be replaying that from New York.
I think there's a red phone.
If you want Batman to show up, is that right? Yeah.
I believe that red phone goes right to the
Kremlin?
right to Mr. Seelig.
Oh, does it really?
Seelig, yeah.
We've had these reviews before. I think this is the first one ever at the Dome. But again, how does this ball not leave?
Well, you see where the cement and the padding are? I think it just hit right there and then bounced back.
Just as
that's what the umpires are looking at right there.
Yeah. Well, the ball has to go over the fence for a home run, and it never did. So it looks like this appeal will be denied or review.
Really, that's the only one, unless a fan reached over, down that left field line. There's really nothing at this ballpark here where fans will interfere.
Right.
And they're pointing at Joe Mauer at second base.
Well, that's the proper call.
Right.
Fans can boo it all they want, but the ball never left the yard. And you mentioned they have the fans sitting back a row in left field to prohibit fans from interfering with a ball like that. That's the reason the plexiglass was put up years ago in the first place.
Right. I thought it was to just keep those home runs that I gave up in the ballpark.
Morneau takes inside.
That's what Dan Gladden told me.
Hence the baggy in right field too. They all did that for you.
Oh, they should have raised that a little bit higher to cover those seats.
Swinging a foul back. No justice prevails. Mauer with a double, not a home run. And for Mauer, his second hit of the ball game. Morneau hit his 28th home run of the season, leading off the 7th. Just outside, 2-1.
Well, 3 times this year, Justin has hit 2 home runs in a ball game. Solo home run leading off the 7th.
He drills one. Slicing foul down by the Twins bullpen. R.A. Dickey's down in that bullpen. He might get the 9th inning. Luke's trying to pitch a clean 8th inning here, having given up a 2-out double. And now 3-2 to Morneau. Yankees have added a run in the top of the 9th, threatening to do more damage. They lead Chicago 8-5, top of the 9th, or 8-5 rather, top of the 9th. And another foul. Twins scoring runs just like they did in the White Sox series. They've actually scored more runs in this 3-game series than they did in the 3 White Sox games. But they've given up 35 runs so far. Chopper to second. Fielded by Kendrick. And the 8th comes to a close. To the 9th, it's 13-4.
right there.
There. Demonstrated. That's the same hand, I think, that demonstrates the ShamWow.
Yeah.
R.A. Dickey comes into the ball game to pitch to the Angels in the ninth.
Sorry, Dickey worked in yesterday's ball game. He threw 51 pitches in the 11-6 loss. He worked 2 1/3 innings, gave up 3 hits, 3 runs. A home run to Mysur Asturias. Second appearance in a row that Asturias has hit a 3-run home run off of Dickey. One in Anaheim and then yesterday. And he's not in the ball game, so that's a good thing.
It's just the 34th game of the year for R.A. Dickey, and it seems like he's pitched in every other game lately, doesn't it? And Rodriguez is retired, 1 away.
That's how valuable he is. You know, he has struggled really since after the All-Star break, but here's a guy that, you know, I mean, 51 pitches yesterday, and he's going to take that knuckler out there with him again today.
It hasn't been pretty again today. And the Twins, of course, every game is important now. We've got 2 months left in the season. And you wonder whether, unless the starting pitching gets better and more consistent, whether there would be any thought of returning R.A. Dickey to the starting rotation. Truth be told, he hasn't pitched well enough to really force the issue. He, as you said, since the All-Star break has struggled. And with Anthony Swarzak giving the Twins a short start yesterday, Blackburn a couple of disappointing starts before his last one, and we'll all be watching Francisco Liriano in his start on Wednesday.
Oh, that base hit of Figgins. You know, you can't keep him quiet against the Twins. He's the last Angel that started the ball game to get a hit. And the Angels now with 15 hits in the ball game.
And Mauer, who's had a tough enough day as it is, now has to try to catch the floater. And Figgins goes to second base.
Mauer behind the plate. He's caught about 150 pitches so far in this ball game.
And none of them did what that last one did.
No. Look at that ball. Wow.
And out number 2.
Dropping it at the last second and really tying Mauer up, but Dickey picks up the strikeout.
Kendry Morales with a couple of 3-run home runs, our Verizon player of the game.
Yeah, 3-run home run in the 5th, and then another 3-run home run in the 8th. Morales now with 23 home runs on the year.
A nice moment for Rob Quinlan, who gets a chance to hit here in the 9th inning. In the DH spot for Bobby Abreu. He's had some hamstring issues and gets an appearance here. Angels had an off day here on Thursday, the 3 days here, another off day tomorrow, and Quinlan's going to stay here in the Twin Cities, spend time with family and friends before going to Chicago on Tuesday. Royals beat the Rays. Costly loss for the Rays. Ryan Bannister pitching apparently a really good game for Kansas City. Bouncer to short. Cabrera watches it all the way in the glove. Throws across to end the inning. So Dickey finishes off the Angels. We'll see if the Twins can do anything in the bottom of the ninth. Shane Lukes will try to make quick work of the Twins.
There you go, future 400 hitter in there.
With one out in the bottom of the ninth. The White Sox winning the first 3 games of that series. And Melky Cabrera, not Orlando Cabrera, not Miguel Cabrera, but Melky Cabrera hitting for the cycle. And most importantly for the Twins, Mariano Rivera on the mound trying to pin down a save. Kubel lifts the first pitch foul. Bobby Wilson just called up for this series with Jeff Mathis not 100% and Wilson getting a chance to catch the 9th inning. Kubel cracked a double, scored a run his last time up. That's hit a long way down the line, but Kubel pulled it. That's a foul ball. Barring a 9-run comeback here in the ninth, the one thing the Twins would like to do, I guess, get some guys on base and maybe roll the lineup around, give Denard Span another shot at extending his hitting streak. One and two. Kubel fouling it away.
Shane Luke starting his second inning of relief. Ryan Fuentes, their closer, down in the bullpen, just I'm sure just getting some work in with an off day tomorrow.
1-2 to Kubel. 2-2. Fouled back.
Nice grab by that young man, or maybe his son and daughter.
And now full count. 8-5 Yankees beat the White Sox. .52 hits allowed in this series. The second most in club history for the Twins. Gave up 54 to the Yankees. Was for the Angels. I beg your pardon. The 52 hits for the Angels, the second most in their history.
Let's take a look right here. Joe Casey, get out of the way.
Well, he got out of the way. It's the camera, worth significantly more than Joe is.
About a buck more.
And Kubel draws a walk. So the leadoff man is on. We might be witnessing the beginning of the greatest comeback in Twins history. Delmon Young will hit next. Down the middle of strike. Young 0 for 3, a foul out, a strikeout, and a fly to center. One and one. Ground ball to second. And a double play. 2 down.
Well, first double play turned by either ball club here this afternoon.
And Brendan Harris with 2 gone on the ninth. Harris singled in a run his last time up, getting an opportunity to play for Joe Creedy. Got the day off. Of course, everybody gets a day off tomorrow, including Michael Cuddyer. And then on Tuesday, the Twins will have to make a decision on Cuddyer. The hope is that he'll be fine and be ready to go. But if Michael's back for some reason tightens up or fails to loosen up in advance of the series opener on Tuesday, the Twins might have to make a roster move.
Yeah, I talked to Michael yesterday. He told me he thought he'd be fine. So hopefully he is. Starting that Cleveland series.
Outside, 1-1. The 3 contenders in the American League Central might be where they were this morning. The Tigers have lost, the White Sox have lost, and the Twins are very definitely losing. One and 2. The Twins are down to their last strike.
Well, you have ugly games throughout the year. You have ugly series throughout the year, and this is definitely one of the ugliest. Good thing about the game of baseball, there'll be a game starting fresh on Tuesday.
Tapper left side, Ibar charges and ends the series. In April, the Twins swept the Angels here, and now in July into August, it's the Angels who sweep the Twins.
Well, Detroit losing, like you mentioned, Chicago losing, Twins still